Hi, my name is Taylorlyn Mehnert, and I'm in the Music Therapy Master's Program at WMU. I've always loved playing music with other people, and I've actually been teaching music since I was 11. Getting my master's degree in music therapy was a natural extension of those passions, and completing the teaching and student success pathway has allowed me to develop my love of teaching as well. I chose this pathway because I love working with students, and I wanted the chance to learn more about how to best support learners. The need for student support is often an issue of accessibility and inclusion. Academia isn't naturally built for everyone, and I wanted to play whatever part I can in making sure that students have what they need to make the time in school the best it can be. For my peak experience, I had the chance to be an instructor at the WMU School of Music's seminar program, which is a summer camp for high school students to introduce them to our curriculum and our faculty. I taught the Introduction to Music Therapy course, which, as was the case with most things this past year, was online. It's definitely a challenge to teach a virtual course that's usually filled with lots of interactive music making. My graduate assistantship has been primarily focused on research, so I was really glad to have the opportunity to teach as well. Now, more than ever, instructors are having to figure out new ways to teach online. It forces you to think critically about your role and about the students' experiences. While this was certainly difficult, it was really cool to have been a part of this large-scale growth in pedagogy. There are many things I've taken for granted about the way that I communicate about music and music therapy. Music affects our brains, minds, and bodies both biologically and socially. It's often easier to explain these things when you can hand a student an instrument and have them try it out for themselves. It's one thing to explain how group drumming can lead to social bonding, but it's another thing to experience it with your classmates. Because we couldn't make music together in the traditional sense, I had to come up with creative ways to engage the students. We used items they had at home, their own creativity, and plenty of humor to define our learning environment together. For example, when we were talking about physical rehabilitation, students grabbed books, pencils, cups, and sometimes even imaginary instruments to see how music can help rehabilitate motor skills. In this class, student success looked a lot different than the typical academic course. These students weren't preparing for a test or learning for their career. They were getting a glimpse into the field of music therapy to help them decide whether or not they might want to pursue a degree in it. This gave me the freedom to talk with them about what they found interesting and what they wanted to learn about. Some students were more interested in certain populations, such as children or hospital patients, and others were more interested in the science behind the interventions. Because of this, we sometimes ended up talking about things that I hadn't planned for. I got to practice my flexibility, my ability to think about things in the moment. Each day, I just gathered my resources, whether that be instruments, music software, textbooks, YouTube videos, and I did my best to gauge what would work best for the students that day and give them plenty of options. On top of some practical skills involved with virtual instruction, operating learning platforms, using music software, creating effective PowerPoints, building in accessibility features, I also had the chance to learn about the many intangible skills involved in teaching. How do I make the things I'm teaching meaningful to students? How do I account for their individual needs and interests? And how can we work together to define success and achieve it? I hope that by the end of our time together, the students I worked with had a pretty good idea of what a career in music therapy might look like. The transition from high school to college can be a difficult one, and picking a major is often intimidating. So I hope that whatever they got out of the course was meaningful to them and helped them navigate this progression. This peak experience allowed me to build on skills that I have been developing throughout my time at WMU and prepare to use them in my career. And I'm so grateful to have had this opportunity.